Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good evening and welcome. This is a live podcast of how to fight CPS and stop taking your children. I'm your host, Bob Pace. And I give a warm welcome because I met so many of you over the past 15 months that have become kind of like a family here. And there is one of my family members, Betty. Betty is from Montana. She's a foster care mother, and she is she's trying to get her niece, her brother's daughter, being transported from Nebraska to Montana. They use an organization called the CPC, and that is a national organization that helps transport children safely. And so good to see you, Betty. That's a nice warm welcome, Betty. Let me see what else you're further saying here. Wow, it's already come now. This is your brother's court hearing, and it's very important that he be there. I know he was sick. It's a Zoom meeting, I understand. And this is not about his termination of rights. I think it is about his termination right. He does not want to give them up. He wants to provide for that child. Does he have a job, Betty? Did he get a job? Hello, Margaret King. Welcome. And you're from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm glad to have you, Margaret King. We have Betty and Margaret King tonight. And Betty says, his attorney wants me to testify tomorrow. Want to know about the case since it started. That's a good sign. You got to make sure that attorney works for you. You know, I think you guys are using a public defender, but you got to make sure he works for you, okay? It's got to make sure he works for you. And Betty further says, he has a job. Oh, great, Betty. That sounds good. So he could help to take care of his child. That is so super, Betty. Then I think you'll have good results tomorrow. Whatever you do, don't give in to CPS. And hopefully your attorney will fight. I know you're using a public defender or a court-appointed one, but it is hard. I know it's hard. Now, for some of you who have never been in my room before, we have people in here that have been here a long time. And I want to welcome everybody. Now, there's lots to do in this room, in this podcast. You found me on Facebook, Fighting CPS, Bob Pace. It brought you here. This is one of 8 rooms. There's 7 Facebook rooms and 1 YouTube room. They all channel to here, so any question you ask will be channeled here and answered here. I know how hard it is because families is the most important value to people. I've heard some really heart wrenching stories the last week here with the Los Angeles fires. They've been really traumatic how people have lost things and how one home was skipped over another home. And they're finding things, that are really momental there. It's a terrible feeling. But I noticed that it's a lot of families are coming together and they're helping one another. Brothers are helping their parents, sisters are helping their parents. It affected everybody's walkaway of life. And, you know, it could have maybe been prevented, maybe, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. You have old building codes, new building codes. It's always been noted that you don't want to have dry brush around the neighborhood. Now, we've not had rains in quite some time. We had a very wet year last year, but our rains here have been very nil, and we needed the rains terribly. Now, I don't know what's happening tonight, but I think they got a handle on it, but the fire is still burning. But my prayers go out to these people. What worries me the most is CPS will intervene and take away the children of these families because they don't have a home. Being homeless or poor or down and out does not mean you can't take care of your children. Your children are your most precious things. We grow up as young children watching our parents do things, and we try to learn from them. And someday we want the same thing, a home. But I'm afraid we have an agency that's turned rogue. They're a very corrupt agency. They were in my case. I've been fighting them for 15 years. I started in 2010 when I lost my job through no fault of my own. And it's been a struggle ever since. I had to sell my home for a quick sale so I get money to hire me a real attorney. That was the gentleman you heard that talked about at the beginning of the show. And he did get back 2 of our 3 children. I've helped raise 6 children. Wow, we got someone calling in already. I haven't even put my number up. Good evening. It's area code 406.
Good evening, Bob. It's Joe.
Hi, Michelle. How are you today?
No, it's Betty, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard something. Michelle. Okay. Hi, Betty. Betty from Montana. And your hearing is tomorrow. I'm glad you called in, Betty.
Yes. I was trying to get your attention saying that my brother's attorney, he had put a petition in the last court hearing back in November to have the child to be placed with me. He put that petition in, and there has been no objections to it. Nothing has been filed with the court since then.
Well, are you want to be a guardianship of your niece?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And how's your brother feel about that?
He's okay with it.
Okay,
He's
good.
okay with it.
Good.
Yeah, he just wants her to get out of the foster care system. He doesn't care if she's with me, if she's with mom, she's wherever. And I said, well, I would be worried about having the child with mom because mom is mentally incapable of taking care of this child. She needs some help, and she's not willing to take the help that she needs.
Okay. I had to catch up because you guys all talked at once and you called in, which is fine. And the thing is, let me see here. Let me catch up. Okay. Margaret from St. Louis was the last one. And then you said a comment here. Let me see what it said. Oh, that's not the comment I'm looking for. Someone else wants to call in. Who was trying to call in? I have Betty on the phone. Hold on a second, Betty. Let me help out that caller. Hold on. Hello.
Hi, Bob. It's KK from New York.
Yeah, hi KK. I'm on the phone with Betty from Montana. I can only do one call at a
You're
time.
on the phone already?
Yes, Betty called me about her case tomorrow.
Okay, all right. I'll hang up then.
Okay, thank you, KK.
All right,
Bye bye.
no problem.
Bye. Oh dear, I lost Betty. Okay. I lost Betty. I am. I can call her back. I just got to find the number. Oh, God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, Betty. I'm sorry.
Hi.
I had KK Richardson called in. She didn't know I'm already on the phone. So, anyway, that's KK from Brooklyn, New York. Okay, we were just talking about, let me see here. You put a comment. Your brother's attorney wants me to testify tomorrow when I know about the case has started. That's a good thing. I'm so glad his attorney wants to do that.
Yes. Tomorrow he wants to have me testify to the court of how I've been involved in this case since day one. And I'm going to just spill the beans out and say, hey, the CPS system is really corrupt. They want to take the children. They don't understand what they're doing to the child. They're making this child emotionally unstable by not allowing the family to have this child placed with family. They made this child just morally, mentally not wanting to talk to anybody.
Okay, great. Well, Betty did confirm that her brother has a job, which is a good thing. And then Betty says her brother put a petition for placement to be with me, which is good. And then Betty further says, I don't have a court appointed attorney. They won't give me one, but I'm doing what my brother's attorney has asked to do. And he seems like he knows what he's doing. You normally don't get a court appointed attorney because there's nothing allegations against you. Also, if you're doing a guardianship or adoption, a court appointed attorney won't be given to you. It's only given to people that have criminal matters, or in this case, CPS is a criminal matter. They get a court appointed attorney. So you would not necessarily hear that. You can get an attorney if you want one, but that will cost us some money. But I think you'd be fine because you're just testifying. You have to emphasize that you're a foster care parent, by the way. Maybe the court will be nice to you about that.
Yep, and I sent in to my brother's attorney my foster care license in the state of Montana and my ICPC paperwork saying that I've been approved. So he can make that an exhibit for me instead of saying, okay, here's exhibit A, and I have it, but how am I going to show it to the court?
Right.
He's going to give it to the judge when it's time.
Okay. And Tessa French from Northern California, Mount Mount Shasta County had just come in, and she says, hey, Bob, and hey there, Tess, I'm glad you're here. She has a case with a couple of court dates coming up about her problem with seizures and how her husband was falsely accused of hitting her when he was trying to help her with her seizures. Now there's Akima Richardson, KK from Brooklyn, New York. I'm so glad to see you tonight, KK. And she also called in, but I was talking to Betty. So I'm glad you're here, KK. I'd like to hear any new news. Now, Betty further said, and this is all before Betty did the phone call. I'm play catch up with all your text messages. Is there anybody that I can call, like Teresa or Margaret, to ask questions? Maybe they can help me. Well, what you can do, Betty, is you can ask them in here your questions, and maybe Margaret and Tessa can help you. I think we all in the room can help you, Betty.
Okay.
That being said, there. Wow, I can't believe how far behind I am. Tessa says, "Is that the same Margaret?" Yes, it is. It's Margaret from St. Louis, Missouri. Tessa further says, "Okay, I'm only familiar with California code and the law, so I'm sorry." It's okay. A lot of things will work in other states. Tessa says, "We have 2 days of trial. Ever since our child was removed, we have started our classes and got approved for a 3-bedroom apartment. They still haven't gotten our CFT scheduled yet." What's the CFT? A court? I never heard of a CFT. A court? I don't know what a CFT is.
Apartment is approved through the DPHS office.
Okay.
To see if your home is approved for the child to come.
Okay, yeah. Tessa says this is week 2 for classes, and we're sorry. We are early to everything. It's okay. It's okay. I know what those classes are like. Tessa says court is on January 31st and February 5th. And that's where she's going to bring in all her witnesses and prove that she was having seizures at the time. The time is there. Now I have a new person here called the Sky Trithan. You can call me. Well, it's easier for you to call me because I can only talk to one person at a time here. Oh boy, I missed a lot of her messages. Let me go back here. I pulled up the wrong one. Yes, we know, Sky, that CPS is evil. Please tell me where you're from so I can help you out a little about your case. KK Akima says, so why doesn't the brother surrender his rights to Betty? He is. Oh, I don't know if he wants to surrender his rights because some days he'd like to have his daughter back, KK. All Betty's doing is a temporary guardianship. She's going to be a guardian to make decisions for the child. So he doesn't want to surrender his parental rights. I'm trying to understand that, KK. That's what I think it is there. Oh God, my computer. I hate this. I can't get rid of this dumb virus. I found it, but then it's resurfaced again. Now Sky wants to talk. I was almost murdered, and CPS is in on it. Wow, I can't believe that CPS would be in a murder. That sounds pretty bad. CPS damages my children so badly. I agree with you, Sky. CPS is illegal. Yes, it is. Margaret says, my 5-year-old granddaughter is going through the same emotional turmoil and trauma, and that's terrible. Why should a 5-year-old child be going through this? Now, Margaret, did you get the guide it's called the Grandparent Guide and how they get your grandparent rights step by step? It's $9.99. It's available at the Vince's office. And if you use my name, Pace, capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E, 50, you'll get it off, 50% off. It's $4.99. And all you have to do is Hold on, let me make that number available. It's called 888-888-6582. That's the law offices of my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. And when you call there, make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And then you can get that book, Margaret. I was very curious if you got that book and what's it like. It's only $4.99. It looks like my neighbor wants to run his guitar in right during my podcast. Now, Sky says most foster homes are destructive. Very few are not. I agree with you, but you have to understand, Betty is a foster mother, and she's a good foster mother. Not all foster parents are bad, but I agree with what you're saying, Sky. KK says, did Betty file for guardianship or for a BFA approved resource for kinship? I think you filed for guardianship, right, Betty?
Yes.
Right. She filed for guardianship, KK. She filed for guardianship. Now, KK says your brother can also surrender or relinquish his rights to Betty and just fix everything in a nutshell. No, I think her brother still wants his rights, and Betty agrees with me. I don't think that'll work out, KK, but thank you for the advice. Thank you for the advice. Now, Sky says you can call me. Well, you people call in, and when Betty gets off the phone, you can call me, or you could be a guest on my podcast. If you want to be a guest on my podcast, all you have to do is write my show producer, Grace, at grace@vincentwdavis.com. You just tell her that you want to be in my show podcast, and that way you can speak. You can speak.
Bob, I think that Sky guy is a troll.
Okay. Well, he says he's from Canada, so we'll find out. KK says if she's already a registered for parent, she has space for the home to open and active. It should be no problem for her to get kinship. I don't know why KK still wants the kinship thing. She's going to get guardianship, KK, not kinship. Now, Margaret says, I would love to help out. Go ahead. Betty, go ahead.
KK was saying guardianship and kinship.
Well, no. She was trying to push for kinship. She doesn't know about guardianship.
Well, guardianship is where you only have the rights over the child, where the parents have their rights, but you're taking over their rights. When you take over kinship, that means the parents' rights are terminated. Their rights are gone. So that means that you have sole custody of that child under your care.
Right.
You make those decisions.
Right. KK,
your child.
Right. Betty doesn't want sole custody of the child. And so that's why she's not doing a kinship, KK. And Margaret says she wants to help out. That's great. Sky, because CPS should be legally dismantled. Well, no, there was a person that talked about that, a senator from Georgia, and she was murdered. You don't dismantle something, you fix it. You fix it. And that's all it needs to do is some more fixing, some more tuning of it. And Margaret says, hi, Tessa. How you doing? And Sky says, it's a home check. Okay, all right. Margaret says, it sounds like the family team meeting. Boy, we got some things going on here. Sky says, most classes made by CPS are set up to fail parents. I don't know if that's the case, The classes I took weren't failure, they're just more information. I didn't feel intimidated taking the classes. And Sky says she's from Canada. So you're about the fifth person from Canada that's talked to my show. So welcome. What province are you from, Sky? What province are you from? And Margaret King says, I dropped my classes tonight. They gave me the creeps. There's CPS tied in. They asked me to write a profile of my granddaughter. That's not a class. That's something else that CPS doing. Be careful, Margaret, what you're signing up for. Be careful, Margaret. Guy says, I was almost murdered. CPS was in on it. Well, I don't know if the CPS is that bad up in Canada. What province are you from, Sky? And I can't take a call at the moment, Sky. Right now I have Betty on the phone. Now, KK says, FIC family. I don't know what FIC means. FTC, family team conference. Okay. I don't know what that really is. Make sure you have the delivery service logs. Do you know what that is, Betty? The service logs? I have no idea what Akima's talking about. She's got me confused. Well, Sky, I really can't put that comment up there. That's not really appropriate here. We don't need to talk about a very bad person in life. We don't need to talk about that. We already know what it is there. Betty can always return his rights because she's a guardian and not the adoptive parent. True, she could, but this is the way that Betty wants to do it. She wants to do guardianship, not kinship. And Sky says she has a master's in anthropology. Well, I don't know if that's going to help you with CPS. What province are you from, Sky, in Canada? Okay, Margaret is expecting a delivery. Are you expecting a baby? Are you pregnant, Margaret? What do you mean by expecting a delivery? Tessa says, I'm back. Sorry, I had to take my service dog potty. Okay, yeah. Dogs do have to go to the bathroom. That's good of you, Tessa. That's good. Sky says the best thing to do is get your brother's kids and get rid of CPS. Well, yeah, we don't like them. Tessa says, yeah, Margaret, that's weird. Now, Sky says, I do like coaching to have help people get their children back in CPS to leave them alone. Maybe that is. What province are you from, Sky, in Canada? I'm from you have a master's in anthropology. Okay, Sky. Now let's see what Margaret says. Yeah, really weird. If they want a profile and get her ready for adoption, and they had the checkoff list, if anyone fell asleep or spoke out of line or to whatever it meant, they would be they were ridiculous. Okay. Akima says they brainwash these children and escape them to custodial interference and alienate your parental for a check. Yes, I know that, KK. It's all about money. Bob, she can always transfer the rights back in case she's already made her mind she wants to do a guardianship, not kinship, Akima, so it's okay. Sky, I don't know how to answer your question there about fixing people. Hi, Lori. It's good to see you. Lori is on my show for a long time. Lori Hilter Mullins. Welcome, Lori. And okay, the province, I don't think Ontario's a province, is it? I think Ontario's a city. Let's see what province that is. Oh boy, I don't know my Canadian provinces. Ontario's a city. So what is the I know about both kinship and guardianship. I imagine you do, KK. I'm not saying you don't. Betty says, my phone is disconnected from the web. Do you want me to try to connect you again, Betty? Let me see if I can connect Betty now. I'm calling you again, Betty.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Thank you, Betty, for calling in. I guess you're disconnected from the web. Okay, you're right, Betty. You are disconnected from the web. I tried to call you back. So, KK, if you want to call me back, you can call me back right now. Let me get my phone number up so that you could call me, KK. Okay, KK now says, I understand that, but what I'm saying is in order to move the process faster, transfer the responsibility to kinship, gets it out of the court's way from CPS supervision, and then 6 months to a year. I understand it may take time, but that's what Betty's made a decision on doing, KK. And you can transfer the rights back. Yeah, I realize that you can. Now we have a new person here called Philistine Gibson. I believe you, Sky. They tried to kill me over 30 years ago. And then when I moved back to Canada, I ended up getting drugged and raped. And they tried to kill my 13-year-old boy, running him over. Oh, that sounds terrible, Philistine. So we have a second person from Canada tonight. A second person. Now, Kima says, I'm going to log off and answer these questions on my Wednesday night show. Because even with my law degree, you cannot tell me what the law is. That's why I passed the bar. You have a good night. Thank you, KK. Thank you for dropping in. It's so good to hear from you. All right. KK is signing off. Now, Betty says, does anyone help with money to get attorney for me? I'm looking at $4,000. Wow. I don't think it's the room to get money. You might want to try a GoFundMe account, Betty, a GoFundMe account. It seems like even the worstest people in this world, that Bo Diddy guy, or not the guy that killed the insurance CEO, has $157,000 he's raised for his court appearance in the GoFundMe account. I don't know. I need to look into the GoFundMe account myself. Maybe I get money to repair my computer and my transmission and get my brakes fixed. Okay, Betty says, yeah, that was there. Okay. Margaret says, um, no, I'm expecting Mr. Davis's book. Oh, good. You ordered the book. I'm so glad you got Mr. Davis's book. That's good, Margaret. I want to hear the input from the book. Now, Philistine Gibson says, when my niece was in foster care, this was 6 months ago, they're asking me for my genealogy, my family tree. They're asking uh, stuff like that about my niece. And I thought and thought and thought they were supposed to give her to me, but they ended up giving her back to my brother. But they uh, had her in the system for 6 years and wouldn't give her to me, put her in a foster care. Yeah, they made a lot of money in 6 years. Let's see now, $20,000 a month times 12 times 6 years. That's a lot of money that CPS earned on that one. That's a lot. It's all about money. Now, Betty says, let's see what Betty says. Quebec. The province is Quebec. She's from Ontario and the province is Quebec. Okay, I got to understand now. We have a new person here of B or I'll be. Is it still called a motion to compel if it's a request for a family court judge to subpoena release of CPS records to party lawyers? Well, that's something that you need to talk to an attorney about. I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise 6 children. I have 41 years of marriage experience. I have a lot of knowledge of life skills. And I too had fought CPS for 15 years. It's been a long time. So my experience in CPS is what I share with all of you. Now, I've heard of the motion to compel. And if a judge orders it, subpoena its release of CPS records to party lawyers. Everything should be open to people. Nothing should be kept hidden. The case should be open. I don't know why they do that, but the case should be open. Well, I want to welcome the person in there. Let me get the if you're going to text a message, please put your first name and then put your city or your county where your case is and the state. Now, if you're from another country, and I have right now 20 some countries that I've talked to tonight, I have 2 Canadians tonight. Please list your province. She's from the city of Ontario in Quebec, Canada. Quebec is one of the provinces. And I want to thank Betty for helping me out with that one. I got my number back up again because you guys can call back in. Betty got disconnected from the web. Albie, what country or where are you from, Albie? Do you have any other questions, Margaret? Or Tessa, do you have any questions? Your court hearings are coming up. Akima had to leave tonight. KK Richardson had to leave tonight. Do you have any more, Sky? There's 2 Canadians. There's Sky Tran, and then there is another one that's got a long name. Let me see. Philistine Gibson. Now, I'm on here, the show, every day of the week. I'm on twice a day, one at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, another time at 7 o'clock at night on the West Coast in California. That's Pacific Time. Now, on the weekend, I come on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. But every other day, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night. So that's 14 podcasts a week. So when you write into Grace about being on my podcast, just pick one of those times. I want to be Bob's Saturday show in the morning, his Sunday show at night, his Monday show at night, his Tuesday show in the morning. So you just tell him that, all right? You just tell him that. And that way it'll get you there. Now, my phone number is 626-698-0990. And I use Vonage on my phone, but Betty's talked to me already tonight. The other number, 888-888-6582, is the law office of Vincent W. Davis. You can retain him right away. Or if you want to talk to him for free, all you have to do is be a guest on my podcast or call in, and you get a free 15-minute private consultation with Mr. Davis. Many in this room have already done that. It's worked out nice. It has helped you. It has helped you. Good, Tess. I'm glad that you're here. Margaret, I have, see what Margaret's saying. I have a readiness trial on the 16th and a trial on the 21st. As it gets closer, all kinds of crazy things are happening. Okay. All right, Margaret. Thank you for informing me. That's great. That's great. Now, I want to thank for the emojis, the thumbs up by Lori, thank you, and the face by Philistine Gibson. Those are nice. Also, Lori also gave me a face too. You can do stars, send me stars, or if you want to be on, follow me, check the follow button, and if you want to be notified, check the notification button. Now, Margaret says, I have a readiness trial. Okay, I've already talked about that. I'm sorry, Margaret. This is what I wanted to put up. Someone doesn't want me to win the trial. Who doesn't want you to win? What evil person? CPS? They want to have your kids and make money off them is what they want to do. What they want to do. Margaret says, so many crazy things are happening, Bob. I don't even know from where to begin to explain. It's okay, Margaret. Do one step at a time. Baby steps is fine. I feel for you. I pray for you, Margaret. I want you to be successful. All of you are like family. Margaret and Tessa and Betty. You guys keep calling in there. We have new family members. We have Philistine and Sky. And of course, we've had a longtime family member, Lori Hiller. So I'm glad you're here. And KK Richardson has been here a long time. And I want to thank her for being in my podcast. And Margaret and Tessa. I think I've covered everybody. I don't want to leave anybody out. Now, I have 5 rules that I always try to tell you about. Rule one is get an attorney. And I mean a real attorney, not a court-appointed attorney. Those attorneys will not fight for you. There you have a caseload of 30 more clients. They don't even have time for your case. CPS wants you to use them because they can manipulate them. They're controlled and paid by CPS. They're just criminal attorneys. They're not a family, juvenile, law dependency attorney. That's the kind of attorney you're looking for. Somebody that knows juvenile law, family law, and dependency law, and someone who's fought CPS. So when you go out there look for attorneys, you get 3 quotes. Your first question should be, are you licensed as a juvenile, family, dependency law attorney, and has won fights against CPS, got the children back? If the answer is yes, the second question you want to ask them, have you ever, after the case is closed, have you ever done a lawsuit? Has your attorney you talked to ever done a lawsuit against CPS for violation of your civil rights, your constitutional rights? And has gotten money back from CPS, whether you did that in state or federal court? Those are important questions to ask. But you need to find your own attorney. You need someone that will speak up for your behalf. Now, getting that attorney should not be a hard thing to do, but you need to get one bad. I had to sell my house to get the money to hire my attorney. Now, rule number 2 is that you need to have a notebook to keep everything in. You need to gather all your documents and organize them. Have subject dividers. And also you need to create a special worksheet called the time log incident. It's where you list all the incidents in a time log fashion. You start with the oldest first. And what you do is you put the date and the time and the location of people involved. Then after you've done that, you want to write a sentence that summarizes the incident, a one sentence that summarizes the incident. Then you want to do on the third line a next sentence of the outcome of the incident. And so those 3 things you got to do in your notebook. It's very important. And incidents will go for a long time because incidents with the police, with the social workers, with your children, so you document. The idea is you document everything. Now, rule number 3 is do not answer the door or talk to police or social workers. Don't let them in your home, and don't let them inspect your home, and don't let them take your children away. Now, further in rule number 3 is you don't open the door because too many people have been killed opening the door. Also, you don't give them permission to come in your home and permission to search. They need to get a warrant. You do not talk to them. They need to get a warrant. You can be very cordial to them and says, I will meet with you when I have my attorney because right now you're charged with something and I need to be represented by my attorney. Also, another part of rule number 3 is medical trafficking. Watch it when you take your children to urgent care or the emergency room of the hospital, or if you're pregnant, you're having a child. Do not let social workers talk to you. Don't answer their questions. They're going to try to trick you and try to take away your child. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Now, Margaret says CPS fighting is hard. Mr. Davis is my attorney. I don't think they like him at all. No, they don't like him at all. I'm glad that you got Mr. Davis working for you, Margaret. I'm glad you got him working for you. They don't want to hear the truth of the laws, and that's what Mr. Davis is, the law, the truth of the law. Mr. Davis knows the law, everything. I'm going to sue them eventually, the crap out of them. But I'm dying right now for my girls. I miss them so much. And my granddaughter misses me just as much. I'm so sorry to hear that, Margaret. I'm so sorry to hear that. Anyway, I have about 9 minutes left. I can take a phone call, and that'd be great. I am talking about rule number 3. If you happen to meet social workers outside, the easy way to get them off your back is say, I'll meet with you, but I need to have my attorney present, so we'll get back to you. That way you can shine them off. You certainly don't want to talk to them because anything you do talk will be used against you. Now, careful in the medical thing because there are social workers that work at the emergency room or in urgent care, and they'll try to take your kids. Also, if you're pregnant, do not give up your child. Just because you test positive doesn't mean that they have to surrender your child. So be careful there. Now, rule number 4 is to nothing more than knowing wisely how to look up things on the internet. You should start off with the city and the state, and then the letters CPS, and then whatever you're looking for in CPS. Like you want to know about the 388 motion, or the 160 hearing, or the 1970 ICWA Act, the Indian Child Welfare Act. So it's really important that you look it up correctly. You put the city, the state, and CPS, and then wherever you're looking for after that. And you'd be surprised how much information there is. So you should spend about 60 hours researching the internet about your case. Now, rule 5 is you want to get a folder and you want to put all your documents in there. Copies of your birth certificate, driver's license, your school reports, your grade reports, your shot records of your children. You put everything in the folder along with your notebook, and you'll have everything you need to fight CPS. All you have to do is have a lawyer, somebody like Mr. Davis, fighting for you. Now, is there any further questions? We're getting down to the bewitching hour that it's almost 8 o'clock, or is it 8 o'clock now? Let me see here. It's 8 p.m. Now, I started a couple minutes left, so I'll go another 4 more minutes. I'll go another 4 more minutes because I don't want you guys to miss out on anything. I know Margaret says they're trying everything underneath the sun. Margaret further says nothing but lies and corruption from CPS. You're so true, Margaret. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Well, with my time remaining, I'm going to take down my phone number and put in that if you could text some comments in there. But I really appreciate you guys all join me tonight. I hope we learned something. We talked about guardianship and termination of parental rights and kinship, and we talked about some of the atrocities in Canada with 2 of the people that have texted in there. Now, I want to thank Betty for calling in tonight and KK Richardson for calling in from Brooklyn, New York. Betty's from Montana. I want to thank the rest of you that have text messages. Margaret, I'm so glad that you're here. You did a lot of talking about there. And I'm so glad that you have Mr. Davis as your attorney. Tessa, I'm so glad that you got yourself there too. Albie, you're brand new. I don't know where you're from, but I'm welcome here. Betty Philstein Gibson is from Canada. Thank you. Akima Richardson, we've already talked to her. And then we have Sky. Sky's from Canada, and she had a lot to add to it. She had a lot to add to it there. And so we've had Tessa, Margaret, Sky, Akima, which is KK, and more Sky there. So I want to thank you all for being on my podcast. And I want to tell you, I want you to still keep fighting. I want you to still keep fighting. Don't give up. You need your children back. Biological parents are the best parents to raise children. So reunification should be taking place. Should be reunification. So there'll be a brief message from Vincent Davis when I sign off. I want you to protect your children, keep fighting for them. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And that'll be the end of my podcast. God bless you, and this is Bob Pace.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.